Tonight, 2 people in custody after a confrontation in Coweta County. Investigators say someone ran through the street with a rifle. Plus, devastation in Shreveport, Louisiana. A gunman opens fire on several homes, leaving 8 children dead. And overnight chaos across Atlanta, where firefighters spent the night taming wind-fueled fires.
Atlanta News First starts now with First Alert Weather.
We know you could feel it. Metro Atlanta got a break from the heat today, but a steady warm-up is on the way. Thanks for joining us at 6. I'm Sydney Stallworth. Let's get on over to First Alert meteorologist Anthony Baglione, helping us prepare for what's to come with the work week. Hey, Anthony.
Hey, Sydney. Yeah, we at least have some sunshine to talk about now. Of course, this morning we woke up, had the cloud cover. It's blustery out there, but a little bit of good news seeing that plane taking off there. You can see them heading off into the distance. A beautiful shot. Our Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Camp checking in at 64 degrees this afternoon. As we head through the next couple of hours, it is still going to be on the cool side, if not just plain chilly overnight tonight. 64 is where we sit in Atlanta, 61 in LJ, Canton, 64 also in Gainesville. All of us heading into tonight, though, it's going to be a pretty chilly forecast with this wind starting to die down, but we're still seeing gusts about 20 to 25 miles an hour. That is going to drag in some cool air for us as we head through the next couple of hours. We'll talk about how low temperatures could get and when you might actually need the winter coat here coming up in just a few minutes.
Topping our headlines tonight, a quiet Coweta County neighborhood is still shaking up hours after a person was seen running through the streets with a rifle. Atlanta News First reporter Justin Berger is live from that neighborhood. And Justin, law enforcement just left the neighborhood. What can you tell us?
Yes, indeed, that's right. We've watched deputies go in and around that house for several hours. They gathered a significant amount of evidence, including about a dozen or so guns. Want to show you the front door of that house. You can see bullet holes piercing the glass, several of them. Now, here's a look at some of those guns we saw being pulled out of the home here on Sandstone Drive around 90 minutes ago, many of which appeared to be rifles and shotguns. It was around 10:30 this morning. Sheriff's deputies showed up to this street and detained an uncooperative person with a rifle. Later, a second person told deputies there may be dead people inside the home. That was not the case, but they did find narcotics and alcohol inside. The sheriff's office says both individuals they detained showed signs of impairment. One neighbor says this isn't the first time they've heard gunfire coming from this house.
We actually have heard them with the guns, and I've always been afraid of one of the bullets piercing our house or somebody else's house.
Now, another concern of that neighbor is that East Coweta High School is just right behind this neighborhood. Now, it is not clear if either of those 2 individuals detained have been charged with any crimes this evening. We're live from Sharpsburg in Coweta County. Justin Berger, Atlanta News First.
Justin, thank you for the update. Meanwhile, we are tracking tragedy in Louisiana where 8 children are dead after a mass shooting. It happened early this morning in Shreveport. Officers say they discovered the bodies of all 8 children between the ages of 1 and 14 years old in 3 nearby homes. 2 others were hurt. The city's mayor says the suspected shooter died after a short chase with officers that involved a carjacking.
He then bolted from the house, hijacked a car, and took off. The police gave chase, and they ended up in an exchange of gunfire. At which time the assailant is deceased. I do not know now whether or not he was deceased as a result of a self-inflicted wound or whether the police shot him.
The mayor says one of the survivors is a child. Investigators believe the suspected gunman was related to some of the victims. He's not yet been identified. Well, back here at home, state agents are investigating after deputies shot a woman in Rockdale County. We're told this happened at around 7:30 last night on Sugar Creek Lane in Conyers. Our newsroom has learned that's where deputies found what they called a hostile woman armed with a knife. Now, the GBI says the woman, 25-year-old Ebony Harris, then ran toward deputies who then shot her. They tell us Harris continued to fight and was then tased. She was taken to the hospital in stable condition. We've also learned no deputies were hurt. Also over in Rockdale County, a woman was found shot to death after what deputies believe to be a domestic incident. The sheriff's office says it happened late last night at a home in the Heritage Crossing area. Authorities haven't identified the victim, but they do tell us a person of interest is in custody tonight. But while Atlanta slept, powerful winds went to work and led to some challenges for first responders. One family woke up with no home. Dozens more woke up with no power. And firefighters worked through the night across the city. Atlanta News First Don Shipman shows us what Mother Nature left behind.
Just before 4 in the morning, the wind did this. Smoke and flames tore through a home on Herring Road in southwest Atlanta. Firefighters say the wind made it nearly impossible to get under control. By the time they did, the house was gone. The family made it out safely, but they lost everything. And that wasn't the only fire. Across town on Fraser Street in southeast Atlanta, another home burning. This right here, a look at just 2 of 3 fires. One night, all fueled by the same wind. In Midtown, the wind found a different target. It snapped the top half of a tree and sent it crashing across power lines on Barnes Street.
Yeah, it sounds like a boom, and you see like a flash. But yeah, no, it's a shame. And this tree has actually also had a bad history of falling.
Dozens of families woke up to dark houses and dead phones. Tree removal and Georgia power crews spent the morning on cleanup duty.
On Sunday, right? I mean, luckily because there's less traffic on Sunday. Otherwise, this road is pretty busy on weekdays. So I'm glad that it happened on Sunday early morning.
He's right, and neighbors knew it. Some made the best of it, heading out for breakfast, since cooking at home wasn't an option.
So what are you doing for breakfast today?
No, I think probably going to go out or something, or let's see.
Atlanta firefighters also putting out a house fire on Delray Drive in northwest Atlanta. Atlanta Fire Rescue putting in overtime on this early Sunday morning. In Midtown, Don Shipman, Atlanta News First.
Now to our national headlines. The White House says Vice President J.D. Vance is expected to visit Pakistan for another round of negotiations between the U.S. and Iran. The first round of peace talks ended more than a week ago without a deal to end the conflict. Iranian representatives are set to arrive in Pakistan on Tuesday. All this as a fragile ceasefire between the United States and Iran is set to expire on Wednesday. Issues at the center of these negotiations: control over the Strait of Hormuz and nuclear constraints on Iran. This weekend, Iran partially closed the water passage again, blaming, quote, U.S. breaches of trust. And today, marine traffic showed 2 sanctioned ships turning around in the Strait of Hormuz, which controls around 20% of the world's oil flow. This morning on CNN, U.S. Energy Secretary Chris Wright was asked when gas prices are expected to drop below $3 a gallon.
That could happen later this year. That might not happen till next year. But prices have likely peaked, and they'll start going down. Certainly with a resolution of this conflict, you'll see prices go down. Prices across the board on energy prices will go down. Putting this 47-year conflict to an end and preventing Iran from getting nuclear weapons, of course, has come with short-term disruption. I think we've managed it fantastically, though.
Well, we've been keeping you posted on the prices at the pump. This is a current check of the gas prices. According to AAA, the national average for a gallon of regular gas is sitting at $4.05. In Georgia, it's much lower at $3.62. And in Atlanta, gas is hovering at around $3.64 a gallon. Now, these prices are lower than what we saw this same time last week.
Now, First Alert Weather with meteorologist Anthony Baglione.
Tonight's going to be a chilly one. We have temperatures dropping into the 30s and the 40s. What a shock to the system that's going to be tomorrow morning. We should be at 53 for this time of the year, way below that tomorrow morning. Upper 40s in Atlanta, again 30s in Carrollton, Rome. I think our far northern areas, those highest elevations, may get close to freezing. It's just going to be something to keep in mind. I don't, though, expect frost, and I don't expect a hard freeze. But if you have plants that are sitting on your patio that you planted, and I'm sure, it was tempting. I did myself with all this warmth we've had. Just make sure to bring them in if they're really sensitive to it. We go through the next couple days. We're at 52 Tuesday morning, 56 on Wednesday. We do start to slowly warm back up as we head into the upcoming week, and our afternoons are going to be feeling a whole lot better. This evening, though, before we get there, we have fire danger concerns and the wind to deal with. We'll talk about those two factors coming up here in just a few minutes.
Thanks, Anthony. You're tracking temperatures here at home. Other states tracking tornadoes. Right now at 6, cleanup is underway in the central U.S. after a string of strong storms ripped through several states. And this is just the beginning of what the National Weather Service considers a tornado season for the Central Plains. Jen Sullivan reports tonight on the destructive tornadoes.
Cleanup is underway in multiple communities after a swath of storms from Texas up to the Great Lakes hit Friday. Several tornadoes were reported.
Something blew through my patio door. It was a pretty good sized chunk of wood. Glass went everywhere.
In northwestern Illinois, this massive EF2 tornado was caught on camera in the town of Lena. Roofs blown off multiple homes.
The magnitude of the disaster was so huge.
Winds up to some 100